Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're actually going to go ahead and review Kenzo Homme Sport Extreme. Now this fragrance was introduced to me quite recently. I actually just smelled it in passing. I was actually smelling a couple fragrances randomly. I saw it, and the Kenzo line is one line that for some reason I've just never really fully dived into. I've smelled, a couple of fragrances for them, but I've, always thought that they smell okay. Nothing really to write home about, and so I never really got into them. So that's kind of my background on the line. When I got a hold of this fragrance, on the other hand, I was smelling it going through, and I was actually pretty impressed, if you will. I liked the smell greatly for this. Most sport fragrances is that I kind of have a negative connotation just because I'm like, you're releasing the original fragrance and all of a sudden you've got a sport version of the sucker, which could be just a really diluted version of something or something that you just threw some sea salty notes. Anyway, what you get from this scent when you spray it on is something akin to the closest, or not, I won't say the closest, it reminded me of Allure Homme Sport, the Extreme version. So I get a very good blast of tonka that kind of comes in, a sweet tonka smell that I'm getting with it. But there are these, marine notes and citrusy notes that are kind of in the background that are kind of fighting for attention with the tonka. So overall, you're getting a sweet, citrusy tonka, type smelling scent that really is very pleasant. It's a very pleasant scent. It's one that I would highly recommend for situations like, it's the summer night. You're looking for something that's going to do well in heat, but at the same time it's the night, and you're looking for maybe a nice date fragrance, maybe a nice fragrance that will attract the opposite sex or the same sex, something along those lines. It's going to do well in those date and those going out situations. Fantastic for that. Work situations, on the other hand, I wouldn't necessarily put it for there. I can see some people pulling it off for it, but it's just a little bit too sweet for me on this, so take with it what you will. But as it kind of dries down with the scent, you're going to get a little bit less of that sweetness that's coming in, and a little bit more of a woody type of a vibe that's going to come from the scent. So overall, I was actually pretty impressed with the scent. It's definitely one that I would take a look at. It's one that I would recommend for people looking for one that's not necessarily your Chanel's, your Dior's, or anything like that. But look at this Kenzo Sport Extreme, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, especially if you're a lover of sweet fragrances, because really the tonka is the star in this fragrance. That sweetness that's coming from it is the star in this scent. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating 4 out of 5 stars. Now, I talked about all of the positives, but let me put one negative in this for this particular scent, is that it's got that very nice sweet vibe, but sometimes, if you're not careful, it can be a little bit much. So, as many of you know, I really test things out, and I test out multiple sprays, different types of sprays. The one negative for this one is, as I was getting performance out of this fragrance and coming up with the optimal amount of sprays, the higher that I went, I found that the performance was getting better with this fragrance. But unfortunately for that also meant the fragrance was becoming more cloying. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. If you want it to last longer, then unfortunately you're probably going to end up choking people out. So that's probably the biggest negative. It's just harder to wear. With some people, they might have a little bit more success. I tend to have skin that really projects fragrances, so that may just be something with my skin. So you definitely want to go ahead and check it out if that's something that interests you. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you. Let me know what your thoughts are on this fragrance. Thank you. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.